The main difference between pay per lead as and retainer model is who the fuck you're selling to, okay? So for retainer, you are selling to local business owners who would rather play Russian roulette than give up their hard-earned $3,000 retainer to you, who they've barely met. You've been on a call for 40 minutes and you're just trying to push and shove those testimonials down their throat, right? And to basically hard sell them on something, on that offer, patch a few guarantees on them to soften the deal, right? You say, okay, it's guaranteed by contract to make sure that you're knowing, you're showing the confidence that you're able to deliver. But in most cases, it's very hard to deliver because these local businesses, they have a lead quality problem, right? You need to generate meta leads and you need to close their appointments, right? You need to fix their sales systems and generate good leads for them. Now, this is something you do not need to do for these corporate giants in the pay per lead model because they have these systems already in place, or else they would not be able to scale in the first place, right? They have a sales team that's trained on the exact same script 1,000 times, 10,000 times on closing these clients. The only piece of puzzle that they're missing is good leads from Meta, right? So these good leads, you're going to be able to provide them. And specifically, these larger corporate companies, they're not just working with you, right? They have $100,000 marketing budget, probably more than that. Like some insurance companies, right? They have an absurd amount of marketing budget, and they have one dude that's called the affiliate manager, right? He basically spreads that marketing budget over 30 dudes, right? 30 marketers, and all of them are sending the company leads, right? Basically the meta leads that you generate from, for instance, instant forms, right? Or you can collect them via a custom funnel or a website that you design to collect data, right? So these corporate businesses, they just need good leads, right? And if you can provide them good leads, they're gonna buy way more because they see a return on investment, right? You're sending them leads, for instance, health insurance leads for 40 bucks a pop, right? And they make like 100 to 20 bucks profit off each health insurance lead on average. They will want to scale that. That's a good return on investment. Probably, I don't know the numbers in health insurance, but that's just an example, right? So they're gonna scale up, right? And you're gonna provide more and more leads. So 3,000 leads at 40 bucks a pop. Let me put my Chinese mind into that's 12. No, that's 120,000 bucks, right? And if you have, like, obviously that's just revenue, and if you make $10 per lead, right? You're looking at um you get it. You make a shit ton of money. My math is just really fucking terrible. But the point of the problem, well, it's not really a problem. It's a fascinating business model that you've never seen before, right? And they're already, and you might ask yourself, you're a bit doubtful, right? Like who would like these corporate businesses? Why would they even trust you in the first place, right? Right? Why? How do you even close them? Well, you don't really need to show them results, right? You just need to speak their language, be professional on the meeting, know how to ask the right questions to seem that you've done it a million times, right? And then you ask for a test batch of leads. Let's say I want to do a test batch of 100 leads. That's what the affiliate manager would say, right? He wants to basically see if the leads that you're sending is of good quality. And typically, if you send them like bad leads, for instance, duplicates or spam, they will want to have them replaced. So they won't pay for it, obviously, and you need to generate some new ones for them, maybe at 30 bucks, right? And you sell them at 40. So you don't like refund them. Like there are no refunds like in SMM or retainer business models. What they are, they are replacements of these leads, right? So this is a proven business model, and some of the largest marketing companies are doing pay per lead. Well, there are kind of sub segments, not just pay per lead, but also pay per click, pay per call, pay per appointment, right? All of that stuff exists. It's just different forms. Pay per click is obviously you pay per person that clicks on your website. Pay per lead is obviously when you generate a phone number or an email or any of the client's specifications that they might have. For instance, like their income level, right? Some of these clients, they might want leads that are a bit richer, so you can charge more for that, right? So for that reason, it's an extremely scalable business model. And as you can see here, all these marketing companies are pay-per-lead companies. They operate, these larger companies, they operate on pay-per-click because it's more profitable, right? But they kind of, all they do is position themselves as kind of a, comparison site to gain the trust of the consumer, to have that, like, branding that consumers know. Okay, lending tree, everybody's heard of them, they must be trustworthy, they're telling me, right, this is the best lender, I should definitely go with that. Well, guess what? That lender pays lending tree the most to be the number one, so he gets the most clients. So it is basically all a huge scam, this industry. But what it is, we're marketers, we're here to brainwash people, right? So sell leads, not retainers, because with retainers, right, it's hard to scale. I've seen some people on the internet, like there's a dude called Cameron England, insane guy, 20 years of age, and he's basically at 250K, 50 to 60 profit margin, right? 50 60%, which is crazy. 125 grand profit, insane levels. And he has 150 clients. I don't know even know how many clients, but it is incredibly difficult to scale. Super, super difficult. Whereas with leads, right, you need like a few bigger companies and the lifetime value goes up, right? And the fulfillment complexity goes down because you just need to remember, you just need to deliver leads. You don't even need to sell them, like on fixing their sales systems, right? Or like pumping AI solutions into their business infrastructure to make it more efficient. AI voice agents, retail, close bot, right? Assistable, none of that. You can typically upsell that with corporate giants, but they already have that. All right, they know what they're doing, so they just need good data. And obviously, right, in some industries, leads can be sold from $30 or like $5 to upwards of $600, right? It is absolutely outrageous because you have a lot of industries, right? Every industry that need customers, you can sell leads to, right? But some industries are not as sophisticated as others. So it's going to be easier in some and harder in others, right? And we're going to walk you through that in another video. But specifically, what I want you to understand is that if you're lazy like me and you want to get richer faster with less effort, less headache, right? And just more aggression, then you should sell leads because it is a no-brainer. You're going after bigger whales with less operational complexity, and it's in some cases, not all, it's easier to close. The sales cycle sometimes can drag out because you're dealing not with the owner of the business, right? The owner of the local business, they need to make sales, right? Or they're fucked, right? They have cash flow, they need to pay employees, they have a synthetic deadline that's running, right? They're the owner, but here you're talking to not the owner. In most cases with these bigger companies, usually the marketing manager or the CMO or the business development manager. They have a shit ton of names for that. The affiliate manager, right? And all of these fancy names, they make like 4 or 5 grand, right? Which is still a decent amount of money, right? Don't say that's nothing, but still, like, they don't give a fuck about the business. They just want you to seem like you can deliver results, so they're doing their job right. So that's all you need to convince them of. It's typically easier to close in some industries than obviously the SMM, and because it's just more saturated. Everybody, you've been shoved this down to your throat, like by Iman, by all these like gurus, SMMA, and then these other freaking like sub verticals of retainer and SMMA pop up. Like if you don't charge a retainer, for instance, you charge like a percentage of their profit and you slap it on like Brez and call it freelance brand scaling, which is kind of brilliant. But yeah, longer sales cycle, And the customer acquisition cost is actually similar, right? In lead gen, in the SMM retainer, like for instance, in one of the most saturated, if not the most saturated industry, in med spa, it has the same customer acquisition costs, right, as in pay per lead. Even more so, like you need to spend 1 to 2 grand to acquire a customer in med spa, and here you can also basically reach these people, right, with the same customer acquisition costs, but it's more lucrative and less headache. So what typically also works is if you find the affiliate brand manager, the marketing manager, the CMO, business developer, or partnership manager, relationship manager, just search for all these terms on LinkedIn, right? Like they all mean the same shit, basically. So you want to look for those, typically these people on LinkedIn. And also, what you can do in some verticals is go on social media, because typically for some corporate businesses, the marketing manager also oversees the Instagram. So that also works. And targeted manual cold emails to these people, right? Typically, manual email is sufficient when it comes, because you're just targeting 4 or 5 people in like one large company that deal with this kind of stuff, right? So just send emails to them. And ads obviously work, right? So obviously you know how difficult it is, right? If you like don't, it is super difficult from the retainer model to do cold outreach. I've called like, I think 3 4 thousand calls, 5,000 calls, I don't even remember, which is not a lot, right? Obviously people doing more. And I closed like nobody from cold calling local businesses. I tried pest control, the med spa industry, and there was one client, like she was so, because she got scammed in the past, she was like so reluctant. It took me like 6 months to get her on a, like 6 months, like 1 month to get her on a meeting. Second like meeting was after like another month, and it was just a whole disaster. I don't even know why I followed up with her. But the point being is that if you're ambitious, which I'm assuming obviously you are, come on, like, come on, bro. So you want to make a shit ton of like fuck you money, go into paper lead. It's just the right choice. And the reason for that being is you're not seeing any videos out there of people pushing this paper lead model like organically on YouTube. That's how you know you're early in this. Because if Iman Ghazi or the large influencers post about this stuff, you're already late, because there's going to be 17, 16 year olds flooding the market, taking everything over, right? And it's going to make your, obviously you can still succeed, but it's going to make your life way tougher, like in retainer. But yeah, just wanted to offer my 2 piece of advice, and you can just check out my other videos, and I'm gonna make more of these. Peace, peace. Merry Christmas, even though I'm Chinese and I don't really celebrate it.